Hello, this is Sondra Oster Baras, bringing you a few words of Bible from the heart of Biblical Israel. This week's Torah portion is Toldot, and with this Torah portion we meet the next generation. We learn about Isaac and Rebekah, and they have twins, Jacob and Esau, and here in this Torah portion we meet these two brothers. And learn of all the various things that happened between them. Now, we know until this point, Abraham was selected by God. Abraham had two sons, Ishmael with Hagar and Isaac with Sarah. And there is a process of selection where God makes it very clear that it is Isaac that will continue the legacy of Abraham, not Ishmael. He will be the heir. Isaac is the heir to the promises. Now again, Isaac has two children, and beginning with this portion, we will begin to see a process of selection as well, where it becomes clear that it is Jacob who will inherit the promises of Abraham and Isaac, and Esau will have a different role. He will not be part of the nation of Israel. And of course, it is Jacob's children. Jacob himself, his name is changed to Israel, and it is all of Jacob's children that therefore become the nation of Israel. So I'd like to just point out a few incidences or a few scriptures that we can see how this process of development begins, that Esau is actually rejected. And the first time, of course, is in the end of chapter 25. And we read that Jacob is preparing, has prepared some kind of a stew or a soup, and Esau comes back from the fields, and he's exhausted. In verse 30, Esau said to Jacob, would you please give me some of that very red stew, because I'm very tired. And then there's a very interesting phrase here. Therefore, they called his name Edom. Now, Edom is red. And so literally what Scripture tells us in Hebrew is that Esau says to Jacob, give me some of that red. Ha'adom hazeh, this very red, but it uses the word red twice. It must be some kind of a bean stew or something that was very red. And it says, but therefore, now we know that Esau, the nation of Esau, is referred to as Edom. Edom is very similar to the word Adom. It's almost the same word, and it means red. Okay, so here we have this idea that the reason he's called red is because even though just a few verses earlier we learn that when he was born he was very red. Okay, but there it doesn't say, therefore, later on in life he's called red. Rather here, he's called red, called after this red stew that he asked Jacob to feed him. Okay, so let's put that issue aside for a moment and continue with the story. Jacob is going to take advantage of this situation where Esau is very hungry. Now he's not starving. He's not going to die. He came in from the field and he's hungry. It's like, you just ran a marathon. You just, exercised and you're like dying. Oh my gosh, I just have to have a drink. I have to have something to eat. You're not in danger in any way, but you have this incredible sense that I want to eat or drink now. Okay? So Jacob, though, takes advantage of this situation. He says, okay, sell me your birthright. Now, of course, Esau is born first, and he's the official firstborn. Esau says, I'm about to die. What do I care about my birthright? Now, he's not about to die. But it's this expression on Esau's part that he lives for the moment. He's not about to die, but he has this incredibly, I gotta eat now, which is a rather immature response in any case. And then, of course, Jacob says, swear me today. And he swore to him. And he sold his birthright to Jacob. Okay, at which point Jacob gives him bread and the stew. And he ate and he drank and he got up. And the end of this section, verse 34, it says, and he got up and he went and he despised the firstborn, his birthright. He not Jacob. He despised the very idea of the birthright. And I think there's something very powerful going on here. We meet an Esau who is immature, who doesn't care about anything long term or of value. He just cares of the now. He's interested in right now. I'm hungry. Right now I want to eat. What do I care about some birthright that has some theoretical future importance? Jacob, on the other hand, from the beginning, understands he wants to be the one who is the heir to the blessing of Abraham, to the blessing of Isaac. He is a more serious person. We meet him at the beginning, just a few verses earlier, and we learn in verse 27 that Jacob is a simple man who dwells in tents. And the word simple, tam, is usually referred to not so much as simple, but as pure. Okay, this is a pure man. He dwells in tents. He's not a hunter. He's not out there, fighting the lions and dealing with the rough and tough of the outside world. He is sitting and thinking, and he's pure, and he stays close to home. Yes, he knows how to take advantage of situations. He clearly takes advantage of Esau in order to acquire this birthright. But he is the type of person who thinks ahead. He thinks long term, and he understands the importance of the birthright. Esau, on the other hand, thinks for the moment. And I think it's very interesting that it's as a result of this story, according to Scripture, that the nation of Esau is referred to as the nation of Edom, as if to say that it is that impulsive quality of Esau, this inability to think in terms of long term or to think in terms of values, but someone who needs to always act based on the here and the now. What is good for me now? What does my impulse drive me to be? This will become the characteristic of Edom. This will become a characteristic of a nation who is aggressive, who is not a friend of Israel. Okay. This is not a nation that worships God or that is known for its values and long-term thinking. And I think this is very significant that the Bible is essentially telling us this is a central quality of Esau, and perhaps the main reason why, at the end of the day, Esau does not inherit this blessing. He does not inherit Isaac. It's also not just that he's thinking short-term and impulsively. He despises the birthright. What is the birthright? The birthright is that uninterrupted connection of God's promise to Abraham, which then gets passed to Isaac. And it can get passed to one or both of the children of Isaac. And yet, clearly from this point, Esau says, I don't care about birthrights. I don't care about this heritage. I don't care about tradition. I don't care about this line that is passed from God through the fathers through me. And somebody who's not going to care about that tradition cannot possibly be the heir to these promises, which God has promised to Abraham will be eternal. Esau has proved himself here to be someone who is incapable of being the trustee of the eternal. Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'd like to be sure you're getting all of our video content. So just click on the subscribe button below as well as on the notification bell, and that way you will have easy access to all our material. We look forward to staying in touch with you. God bless you, and have a wonderful day.